Greetings and salutations, this is Rick. I hope you're having a great day. Okay, I think we're on day 10 with the van. Right, this is just going to be a quick natter about the things I've done over the last couple of weeks. Basically, video number 9, that was where I got the van to a state where I could actually use it, and then I actually went away in the van for a weekend. Had an amazing time, and the van just basically worked exactly the way I hoped it would work, which is all I want really for a van. I just need a little home from home if I'm going away somewhere, and it functioned beautifully. The shower worked, the fridge worked, the bed was the most comfortable bed I've ever slept on, and that includes my bed at home. Yeah, so it all worked really well. So since then it's been a case of just finishing everything off. Now I'm at probably about 70% done in all the finishing off, but there's still lots and lots of little bits and pieces to be done, which is probably going to take at least another month before I can sit back and say yes, the van is finished. So what I've done so far is I've finally got the doors on the kitchen unit, so they're all working and functioning. Got little push catches to keep them closed, which is good. And they're very simple design, very happy with them. They work, they do the job they're supposed to. I put some silver trim on basically because without the trim it looked a little bit too much with all that wood colour. Not sure if I like it the way it is or not, but I don't care. It's completely functional and it works, and hopefully it will last a long time. Also managed to put a door on the area where the shower reservoir is. Got a mirror, and I suppose more importantly I've got the overhead cupboards in. But it was 2 days solid work to get those overhead cupboards in. You'd think they're quite simple, it's just like an upright, a base and a few doors, but for some reason it just took forever. Yeah, they're all in and plumbed in and working. They've got the little push catch doors on them. I've got to get some little piston things on the sides that are going to hold them open, because at the moment you have to hold them open with your head and it really hurts. The silver screens have arrived, so I don't necessarily need to use these curtains at night. The only time I'd need to use those is in the winter time, because these are thermal curtains, and I've yet to put the Velcro on the sides to sort of properly seat them in. But during the summertime, when it's not going to get cold, I can leave these curtains open, the silver screens will be on, and it just opens up the van even bigger, makes it feel even bigger. I had to put this little silver thing on the corner, but it keeps coming off, just to protect the door. But basically when I'm driving along, the door likes to fly open, so as a temporary measure I've just put this little hook on there, and that just that stops the door opening. But I'm looking at getting some sort of other system, maybe one of those child locks, which you have to pull open to open the door, but I'm not sure you can get them thin enough. I may have to 3D print one. Actually, that's a really good idea. I might do that this afternoon. That'll be good. So if we open the door, first of all, notice got a mirror, although it's a plastic one. I wasn't too thrilled about getting a proper glass one. The only problem is it's not entirely like level. It's like walking into a hall of mirrors. It's like, it gives me a bit of a strange shape, but never mind. You've seen the bathroom before. Got a little bathroom cabinet in there now as well, which is quite good, although again I've got to concentrate on figuring a way to stop these doors coming open while I'm driving along, because they're only held on with little magnets at the moment. But again, I think I can 3D print something, even if it's just a little clip that sits on there. I think that'll solve that. Also got a loo roll holder now, and a few little hooks and things just to make it a little bit more homely. Now, I did mention in a previous video where I was talking about opening up this back wall, it's been on my mind a lot, and I think I'm going to go ahead and do it. Now what I need to do is just get the cladding off the back, pop out the insulation, and then what I'm going to do is build another stud going down there. At the moment the stud wall sort of goes across that way, so what I need to do is just get access to the back of the wall, and then I'll put a new stud in there, because I do need a back wall here because it's what the loo is anchored against. But what I can do is probably from about here is just open this up. Now whether this just becomes a door or I just completely remove it and have access to the back doors, which I'm leaning more towards, I think I will do that. But it will literally be sort of from here up to this edge. I might stay with a small edge on there? I don't know. I'll decide at the time, but I think I'm probably going to do that fairly soon. I've yet to plumb the proper shower in. That's still temporary. Again, that's just one of those extra things I've got to do. I've managed to move the control panel out to here. Originally it was here behind this plate, but obviously when I put the overhead cupboards in, that had to be extended out. I had to extend a few of the wires, but most of them they were long enough to bring it out to here. Now for the seat, I've thought long and hard about this seat and what to do with it. Originally I was going to put a front fascia on it, but thinking about it, at the moment these apertures are really big and they're really useful because I can get loads of stuff in there with no effort. If I start covering this up and putting doors on it, like I had with the other van, the doors get in the way and they close up the aperture, so you can get less stuff in, or the stuff that you put in has to be smaller. So what I've decided to do for now, just as a temporary measure, and it was a suggestion given to me by one of my subscribers, is to put a curtain valance around it, so it will completely disguise this bare wood legs. But also I've ordered a large container that should fit in there perfectly, and that container is going to remain open. It won't have a lid on it, so it should just be a case of pulling out the container. I may have to configure the curtain so that it's perhaps got a gap or two in it, so that the container comes out without the curtain getting in the way. But if the container fits, it should hopefully maximize that storage area there and obviously keep everything contained. So I'll order a second one and put it there. I suppose in a way it would make sense to have 3 containers under there, but I'm thinking I may need a miscellaneous storage area. You know, if I've got a bag, an odd shaped bag or something that's not going to fit in that container, I can still stuff it under there. So for now I'm just going to go for 2 containers, and then obviously this valance that's going to go around, and then that should look really good. Now I've also had some comments regarding the dowdiness of this caravan cushion, and I completely agree with you. It does make it look very 1970s, 1980s, 1990s maybe. It's not a perfect colour, it's kind of a washing up water colour, and it doesn't necessarily go with the colour scheme in here. But I have to say, this is the most comfortable seat I've ever sat on in a motorhome. It's the most comfortable bed I've ever slept on, and to get this reupholstered, you're going into the realms of £1,000 plus, and to spend that sort of money to change the colour of something, no, not going there. Worst case scenario, I can use a throw. I can put throw a rug over it, or not a rug, but an actual throw, change the colour of it, job done, and it's cost a couple of quid. So that's what I'm going for at the moment. I don't really care about the colour of these. I know the looks are not, totally perfect and up to date, but I don't care. I actually had to build this interior on a budget. Originally I was going to get a second-hand van, then I did some finding out, discovered a new van would be within my budget, but I would have to cut back considerably on the amount I spend on the interior build, and so I actually went for that. I thought it made sense to go for a new van if I possibly could. So all of this has been built on a significantly reduced budget to the budget I was originally going to build it on. Hence I've had to cut a few corners, but I don't care. It's completely practical. It's going to do everything I need it to do. When I went away in it, when it was 80% built, it was absolutely fine. Everything worked. The shower worked, the loo worked, the fridge worked, the bed was the most comfortable bed I've ever had in a motorhome. I had 3 really good nights sleep on the 3 nights I went away, so I can't complain. And yes, it may not look completely modern and completely sleek like something that's just rolled off the production line at Marquee or whatever, but this van is a case of functionality and practicality over aesthetics, and I have absolutely no problem with that whatsoever. Now I can't get over how I've got a bathroom that's twice the size of the one I had in the old van, a bed that's much longer and much more comfortable, and I think wider as well, and I've got a kitchen that's about the same size as the one in the other van, but it feels much bigger. And I can't understand how I've got that in, you know, how I've managed to build that within approximately the same footprint. I mean, okay, this van is a little bit bigger than the other van. That's the long wheelbase version of the Traffic. This is the medium wheelbase version of the Master, and it's just under a foot longer. I think it's about 11 inches longer and a couple of inches wider, yet it feels so much bigger, and I can't get my head around why that is the case. I think it's simply because of the layout. The layout is different in this one than it is to that one. In the old van, the bathroom is immediately behind the driver's seat, and that structure sort of feels like it cuts into the living area, whereas this bathroom it has a very distinct boundary, and obviously, you know, it goes back into there, but this boundary then becomes the wall of the living space, so you've got this much more defined living area. It's much more rectangular, and it just feels more open, and especially with the curtains open, it just feels really, really big. So I think in possible future van builds, I may stick with this design as opposed to the old design, which I'd done on several vans previously. I don't know, but yeah, I'm very, very happy overall, and just can't wait to sort of get out there and start using it. So there we go, that's it for this video. Love to hear your feedback and your comments as always. So thanks for watching, have a great rest of the day, and I will see you in the next video. Until then, take care.